Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Elevating Your Life, and we're going to be elevated today. I am so happy to share another fantastic guest. We have with us today Harmony Kwiker. She is the author of Align, Living and Loving from the True Self. Fantastic book. She was born into a family of progressive healers. When it came time to choose a major in college, psychology seemed like be the reasonable choice. Wanting to find a way to bridge the progressive healing techniques of her parents with traditional psychology, she chose a graduate program with a strong foundation in social justice and more holistic lens of clinical psychology. And she went to school in Seattle. And after 10 years of teaching general psychology for University of Phoenix, Harmony accepted a position as a visiting instructor at Naropa University. Harmony feels honored to guide students on their journey of learning to embody the healers they are born to be. She has created a framework for counseling that answers her quest for deep transformation in a clinical setting. Spiritual alignment technique is the basis of her newly launched training center, the Institute for Spiritual Alignment. Oh, that sounds fun.
Thank you.
Welcome, Harmony. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. Would you like to share a bit more of your background with everyone? And kind of what brought you to this place and what prompted you to write this fantastic book.
Yeah, thank you. When I first started my clinical practice, I felt like I was sort of groping in the dark, so to speak, trying to find my way of how to really support my clients to find their way back home to themselves. And I had a foundation in Gestalt counseling, and excuse me, and that's what I teach at Naropa University. I have a frog in my throat. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Sorry about that. And Gestalt is a really creative form of therapy where we drop into the present moment with our clients and we really listen in the deepest way. And because I was able to hold a container with my clients that really had no agenda other than to listen and be with them and honor their wholeness, I was offered this really beautiful opportunity to listen deeply to how clients leave their true self and how they find their way back home to themselves.
I love it. I love it. And you share in this book so much fantastic information, about the true self, about so many things. But let's start with true self. So someone that may be listening that hasn't heard that term, how do you describe that, Harmony?
The true self is the spontaneous expression of life through us. So we develop conditioned patterns, like conditioned ways of engaging socially or with people in our lives. And those conditioned ways are learned and they're acquired. But the true self is a spontaneous expression of life force through us. And when we really cultivate an internal environment where life can express through us in a spontaneous way without trying to control ourselves or control the world around us, we are in flow with life, essentially. And there's much more ease and joy and happiness.
Yeah. So then would you say the true self is, our core and what we really are inside? And when we open up to that, we are expanding that and sharing that with others.
Yeah, it's not only our core, but it's the universal core. So it's the part of us that is also in all other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is so fantastic. And something you mentioned in the book, within and around us, there's a seemingly invisible energy that is our life force. I love that because I am just passionate about our life force energy. Share a bit about that with us, Harmony.
Yeah. So I think most people think of energy as like a dense energy of our bodies, and our breath kind of moves energy, but there's a subtle energy within and around us that if we really shift into a more subtle mind, away from our ordinary thinking and into subtle attunement, we can see and feel and sense a subtle energy body that goes beyond us. And, physics is measuring this, and there is a lot of science to support this. But I believe that there's a real practical reason to really attune to the subtle, and that is to really see how we have stored energy that is keeping us from feeling vital and open and alive, and moving that stored energy in a way that feels really honoring and loving.
Yeah. And with the fact that so much around us, can be our, conditions around us, what we've been exposed to. What are some simple steps we can take to be in our original, core and our inner self and bring that out? Any suggestions?
Mhm. Yeah, I think the most accessible and simple first step is learning how to become available for the sensations that we have in our body. So there's a wisdom in our nervous system, and I think most people turn away from the sensations in their body. Like maybe it feels too much, or maybe they just never learned how. But by turning towards ourselves and starting to open up to what we're feeling, our energy can start to move in a way that is unthwarted, that is open and aligned.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And so what does that, when we're able to do that and bring that out, what kind of things can you share of what we may experience or how we may feel in the ability to do that?
Well, ultimately, what we'll feel is more bliss and trust for life.
Love it. Love it.
And we'll feel more embodied. Like we have, like our soul has a seat, that we're fully here and fully present. We're not clinging to the past. We're not resisting what we're feeling right now, and we're not trying to control for some future outcome. We're really open.
Yeah. And I've always believed, when I, residing in connecting with your higher self and that inner core, I mean, it lets go of fear and doubt and all those things that, can put a fence up in front of us.
Yeah, I think before that, though, the first thing that happens is our relationship to fear and doubt changes. So it's not about making fear and doubt go away. It's about being really loving and welcoming and curious about that fear and doubt. And the moment we shift our relationship to the fear and to the doubt, we're actually embodying a truer aspect of ourselves. We're no longer clinging to it. We're actually making room for it. And this is the essence of the true self, where we recognize that we're actually in everything. We're in the shadow, we're in the darkness, we're in the fear, we're in the doubt, we're in the goodness and the beauty.
I love that. I love that. So it's like we're acknowledging that and accepting that and just moving on, and knowing it's there and accepting it.
Yeah, and really honoring the wholeness of our being, not
Um,
needing to be a certain way, not needing to be only in the goodness all the time, but being all of it all the time.
I love that. I love that. So would you say it's like, our wholeness, it's like this circle with all these things, and that's us. It's a multitude of things.
Yeah, so if you're looking at our wholeness as like an ocean, a vast ocean of energy within and around us, there are aspects of our being that sort of get hardened in our system, and we start identifying with them. And so when we're not in conscious relationship with these various elements of ourselves, they become the lens that we're looking through. And we believe that we are the fear, or we believe that we are the doubt, and that those thoughts are true and real, and that's where reality exists. But by welcoming the fear and the doubt and creating more awareness and consciousness and relationship to that aspect of ourselves, that part doesn't go away, but we move more into awake awareness, and our subtle energy body softens, and we have more choice about how we want to move forward in life.
Oh, that is so fantastic. That is so exciting to know we can do that. In your book, you talk about our conditional self. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, our conditioned self is our learned sense of self. It's what the world has taught us about who we are, but also how we adapted to the world around us when the environment that we were growing up in and developing in wasn't an attuned, safe place that was healthy for all of who we are. And we learn these adaptive strategies for how to relate to ourselves and relate to the world. And these adaptive strategies ultimately end up causing people a lot of distress. And it's typically why people come to seek counseling or to seek therapy or coaching, because they have these habits, these conditioned patterns from their conditioned self. They're familiar, but they don't know how to transcend them. Yeah, and so what I would want people to know is that these habits that actually cause them distress began from a place of wisdom. That when they were originally formed, they were there to offer a way to find some sort of connection or safety or ability to create balance in the system around them when they didn't have full power of an adult.
Yeah, that is just fascinating. It really is. Wow. And, we as individuals can move through that and do beyond our conditional self, can't we?
Absolutely. We can. The thing that I actually love about the conditioned self is that it's sort of already set. Our personality development is complete by around the age of 10. And so in our adulthood, when we notice the personality patterns of the conditioned self, they become sort of predictable. And because they're predictable, they're actually quite easy to differentiate from when we can see our patterns clearly.
Wow. Wow. And that's so true. As we get older, we have developed patterns, whether we realize it or not, we have.
Mhm. Yeah, and when we believe that we are those patterns, which I think can be a challenging concept for people to sort of understand, but when we follow those patterns around as if they're real and our identity is seated in them, we're actually asleep to the true self. Yeah.
Wow. So what would you say is a good first step into getting closer to our identity of our true self?
Mm. Yeah, it's such a beautiful question.
Big question.
I actually believe that there's a lot of practice involved.
Mhm.
So, I've been meditating since I was 6, and I still meditate 2 to 3 times a day. And I also sit in presence with my clients and my students where I'm cultivating a relationship with that aspect of myself regularly. And, you know, I understand that many people can think that they don't have the time or the ability. I hear people say often, I can't meditate. My mind won't turn off. I can't stop the thinking. And that's another way of saying I'm hyper identified with my conditioned self. I believe that it's true, and I don't know how to get space from it.
Wow.
And so, really, any moment that we can become aware of that, even if it's like 3 breaths or a short 3-minute meditation, where we get intentional about where we want to live from. Maybe it's connecting with our heart and placing our hands over the center of our heart and taking a few breaths there and asking for guidance from our heart. Like it's really about getting intentional about where we want to live from and then cultivating a conscious relationship with that aspect of ourself daily.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So with your Institute for Spiritual Alignment, Tell me about that. So is that the people sign up for that and then they learn uh, those tools and many more?
Yeah, so I'm training like master level counselors and therapists and people who've already trained as coaches. It's a way to really support them in cultivating a relationship with their own intuition and learning how to guide their clients into an awake, aware state where their clients can come deeper into the true self. And it's a trauma informed approach to honoring the wisdom of a person's system. I
Mhm.
believe that all people are self-regulating organisms, that we actually have the ability to find our way back to ourselves on our own. And when we're in the presence of a healer, a counselor, or a coach who trusts our own ability, we find our way back home more quickly to ourselves. And so so it's a training institute to teach others how to do what I do.
Oh my gosh. I just have to say a big heartfelt thank you for what you do. I can just imagine the effect and the positive uh, changes you help people make in their lives. And, that has to be so rewarding, Harmony.
It really is. Thank you. I actually feel teary when you say that. As I said earlier, I felt like I was groping in the dark trying to find my way. And so to have the honor to guide other clinicians to learn and support them in finding their seat so they don't have to do it on their own. And to also create community with other clinicians who hold this value it's been such a joy, and it's the deepest honor. It's such a sacred honor.
Oh, I can imagine. I bet it's just beyond words.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Share with everyone listening your website and how they can learn more about that and what you do, Harmony.
Yeah, my website is thespirituallyaligned.com. And there's sort of two websites in one where you can try to find a coach to connect with who's a spiritually aligned coach who's trained with me. And the other is to become a coach and to train with me. And so you can reach out to me there and learn more about me there.
Oh, that is so fantastic. Something that you mentioned in your book that I was just really intrigued by, and I'd love you to share information on that, is you talk about life urge and death urge. Please share with everyone what that is.
Yeah, so I believe that we all have both a life urge and a death urge within us. And unconsciously, there's this deep belief that we need to die in order to get back to the universal bliss of our spiritual self. And this is, in my theory, why people disassociate and leave their body when they're in a state of trauma, because they want to get back to that universal bliss where there is no pain and there is no trauma and fear in this way. And our life urge is where we are fully embodied and bringing that spiritual self here into this life. And to get our life urge so that it is higher than our death urge, we create a trajectory for ourselves where we come into the joy of being alive and the joy of being in a body.
Wow. Wow. And when we come into that, it's like, oh, well, I'm alive. I'm in my body. And, you know, being able to love that and appreciate that and just something that simple can really bring us to a higher elevation, can't it?
Yeah, and our habits either cultivate our death urge or our life urge. So if we're in the habit of checking out and watching a lot of TV, or using a lot of substances and eating a lot of food that isn't high quality, that doesn't have a lot of life in it, then we actually suppress our system and suppress our life urge. And so like creating habits where our vitality can thrive, like spontaneous movement and dance, and a lot of vegetables and live grains and a lot of breath. Our breath is really what keeps us in our body. And so tracking our breath and breathing in a way that supports our life urge are ways that we can cultivate that more.
Oh, I love that. And oh my gosh, that just makes me realize I'm a dancer. My
Uh,
grandkids know it. If we're in a store and I hear a good song, I'm dancing. I don't care where I'm at, I'm doing it.
I
So
love
now when I'm doing that, I'm going to be thinking, yes, my life urge. Yeah, bring it on.
I love that so much. The thing about the life urge that I think is so beautiful is that it allows us to emerge with life. Like there's nothing to control, right? That freedom of movement is spontaneous and joyful. And that is what it means to be alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll never forget my granddaughter saying, Grammy, I've told my friends, because I was going on a school field trip, if you hear a song you like, you dance, no matter where we're at.
She prepared them. I love that. And it sounds like, and she welcomes that in you. She like
Yeah,
wants her friends
yeah,
to know that about you. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. So, and it's, and really, would you say our life urge is also our uniqueness
Hmm.
and being ourself and loving that and accepting that? Does that contribute to our life urge?
Absolutely. So when the way life expresses through us is unique, right? So there's this place of oneness inside of us, of the true self, where we're not separate from anyone else. And yet at the same time, we are unique. And life expresses through each one of us in a unique way, really dependent on our own talents and our own thoughts and our own values. And so yes, allowing life to express through us is like our unique imprint on the world.
I love it. I love it. That is so fantastic. Oh my gosh. So, for those listening and they're like, okay, I want to get, it's those little steps that you talked about.
Mhm.
And on your website, is there information where they can learn more
Mhm.
and get into that? And what do you
Yeah.
recommend for someone saying, I really want to get more? Of course, they need to read your book. Your book, Align, Living and Loving from the True Self, is fantastic. But we can all move closer to that true self and come be in it more, can't we?
Absolutely. On my website that I mentioned before, thespirituallyaligned.com, I offer an alignment map so people can come and get this PDF of an alignment map where I use Align as an acronym, where there's awareness and life urge and integration and groundedness and newness, as sort of a map to help us find our way back to ourselves.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. Yeah. And if there's any therapists or clinicians who are listening too, there are free giveaways there about how to create a sacred container and how to hold space in a sacred way.
Oh my gosh, that is so fantastic. And I love that the map
Mhm.
technology. I've always said this life, I'm in this life's vehicle and I'm going down this life's highway.
Mhm. Mhm.
Don't know where my road stops will be, but I'm on that highway.
You're on the ride.
We can have fun with all of that. We really can.
Absolutely. It can be exhilarating when we're really like in flow and in
Oh,
choice about being on that highway.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And being in that flow and choice, that really is liberating for us, isn't it?
Hmm. Hmm.
Gosh, that's a beautiful thing. I love that you're sharing this and helping open that window for so many. Gosh, with a few minutes left in the show, Harmony, what last words do you want to share with everybody?
I would really love for people to know that they hold the answer to their own liberation within themselves, and that looking within, they can find their way back home. And anytime you notice yourself looking outside for the solution, for the answer, or even for the blame of why you feel the way you do, that is a mirror and a reminder for you to come back to yourself.
Wow. Wow. So basically, would you say just open up yourself to, okay, I see that and I blame, but let's just reside in me. And so would that be where I'm at? I see something, I may not be able to change it. I look at it, I accept it, and I make the decision of where I go with my feelings and my steps.
That's part of it. The other part, though, is giving ourselves what we want from outside. So if you're longing for love from another person, that is a reminder and reflection to turn toward yourself and offer that deep, unconditional love to yourself. Or if there's something that you don't like in another person, it's an opportunity to look within and see where you have that same quality within yourself or where you treat yourself that way. So everything that happens outside of ourselves is this, I believe, a really beautiful mirror and reminder to come back and look within, because this is where the solution is.
Yeah. So the things that happen outside of us can be a reminder or a clue to look at that in me
Every time.
and take care of that with my true self. That is really fascinating.
Yeah, I think that it gets confusing for people because they can be seeing something outside of themselves clearly and simultaneously projecting onto what they're seeing. And so there can be some confusion there, which is why I think every single time looking within first is always the first step.
Yeah. Yeah. And would you say when we look inside and, connect with our true self, we're safe, we're loved, and that's just, they're waiting for us. It's what we are, would you say?
Yeah, and that we hold ourselves in such a way that our system knows that we're going to keep ourselves safe, rather than looking outside of ourselves for that safety or for somebody else to be something so that we feel safe. That we are really going to hold ourselves, honor ourselves, tend to our own boundaries, and speak our voice and speak our truth.
Oh my gosh, that is just so fantastic. Oh, and in your book, you share so many fantastic points and information. I marked all over my book. That's what I do. Something I'm going to go back to. I mean, it's really a gift for everyone writing this book. Do you think you'll write another book?
Yeah, I'm editing my third book right now, and it's just,
Ooh,
yeah,
love it.
it's for clinicians. My first book is a memoir. It's a self-help memoir, called Reveal, Embody the True Self Beyond Trauma and Conditioning, and it's my story. And Align, Living and Loving from the True Self is the book that's coming out next month. And Align really was based off of my clinical work and my work as a teacher training therapists. And my third book will be for clinicians and practitioners to really to learn how to guide people back to their true self.
Well, I am excited to hear more about that. And when you're finished, we may have to chat again. Oh, that's so exciting. It's just, yeah, being a fellow author, I'm working on my next book and it's themed about the angels. I am a fan of the angels. I love the angels.
Such beautiful helpers,
Oh,
so much
the
wisdom there.
messages we get. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Mhm. Yes.
Go on and on. Oh, Harmony, thank you so much. This has been so fantastic. Everyone, you've got to check out her book. I absolutely loved it. I'm a big fan. And thank you for all that you're doing to help so many. I'm just honored to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Paula. It's been such an honor to be with you.
Thank you. Love, hugs, and blessings, Harmony. Everyone out there, love, hugs, and blessings. Have a fantastic day and hugs to our true selves. And let's have some fun. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you.